Oh, yeah.
Okay, guys, can everyone turn on their lights? Okay, in accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that a notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board Town Hall and mailing to the officially designated newspapers a list of the meeting dates annually, indicating that this meeting would take place at the Town Hall at 7 p.m. on April 7th, 2025.
Chandra Harjani.
Here.
Gary Rosen.
Here.
Virginia Truitt.
Here.
Beth Zoll.
Here.
Romino Roberts.
Here.
David Bradford.
Here.
Vice Chair Joseph Caulfield.
Here.
Chair Jessica Black.
Here. Okay, we are going to start off with the approval of minutes.
I did not circulate.
Oh, we didn't circulate those, okay. Well, then we're gonna start off with our resolutions. The first is calendar 3964-23, that's Jose Valdez, 53 Sagamore Road. Who is
Eligible
eligible?
are Chandra, Beth, Romino, David, Joseph, Jessica.
Okay, do we have any additions or corrections? Do I have someone who wants to make a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Chandra Harjani.
Oh, yes.
Beth Zoll.
Yes.
Romino Roberts.
Yes.
David Bradford.
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield.
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes. Okay, next up, we have calendar 4013-24, Elliot and Aaron DeSanto to Woodfield Drive. Who's eligible?
Same people.
Same, okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to accept Pizza Hut.
Seconded.
Chandra Harjani.
Yes.
Beth Zoll.
Yeah.
Romino Roberts.
Yes.
David Bradford.
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield.
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes. Next up, we have calendar 4021-24, Hao Wang, 35A Spring Street. Is it the same?
Eligible are Chandra, Beth, Romino, and David.
Any corrections, any additions, changes? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move the approval. I can second.
Was that David? or
Yeah, David, with the motion.
Chandra Harjani.
Yes.
Beth Zoll.
Yes.
Romino Roberts.
Yes.
David Bradford.
Yes.
Last, we have calendar 4022-24, Sang Zhao and He Shi, 21 Great Oak Drive.
The same original.
Same original, okay. Are there any additions or corrections? Would someone like to make a motion?
I can move to approve.
I'll second.
Chandra Harjani.
Yes.
Beth Zoll.
Yes.
Romino Roberts.
Yes.
David Bradford.
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield.
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes. Okay, next we have the adoption of the new zoning board calendar for the new dates and venue change for our last meeting in April through August of 2025. Has everyone had a chance to review that?
So this is an adoption by resolution, and we should have a voice vote for it.
So is the idea though that the calendar after August will remain the same, or we
No,
will
we'll
reset
have
the
to.
calendar?
We're gonna, hopefully the library will be done by that time. And we should be able to revert back to our original first and third. but we weren't 100% sure. After, I don't have the Board of Education calendar yet. They don't adopt their calendar until July. So I don't know their meeting dates in September, October, November, December. So we'll play by ear till then.
All right, thank you.
But this is the last meeting here. That's it. Here. For a while. For about 2 years.
2 years.
Wow.
It's probably a minimum of 18 months. Wow. And you may not see me here when you come back.
Oh my.
Note that Ms. Cat.
Counting down to retirement.
Yeah.
I may not.
Well, yeah.
You
might miss 2 years.
Miss Abbott's dancing in the aisles.
Okay, so I guess it's just a regular, would someone like to make a motion to accept the new change of venue and calendar dates?
So moved.
Second.
Second, okay.
Shawna Rajani,
Yes.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Virginia Truitt,
Yes.
Beth Zoll,
Yes.
Yelena Roberts.
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes. These are the applicants here, or we're just gonna carry them?
Well, you should just announce that they're being.
Okay, so our first two applications that are on the agenda for tonight, the first is calendar 4020-24. The property location is 88 Stewart Road, and the applicants are John and Regina Geisenterman. That is going to be carried to April 28th, 2025. And
And I'm sorry for interrupting. Eileen, what's the address?
434 Millman Avenue.
434 Milburn Avenue is where we're gonna be going?
okay, and that will be at 434 Milburn Avenue.
At 7:00 PM?
Yes.
At 7:00 PM. And the next calendar 3974-24, property location is 389 Milburn Avenue. The applicant is 389 Milburn LLC. That is going to be carried to May 12th, 2025. It will be carried as well to 434 Milburn Avenue at 7 PM. Okay, so moving right along, first up, we have calendar 4012-24. The property location is 55 Locust Avenue, and the applicant is Ashlyn Muntra. This is a continuation.
I'm gonna set up a place that I'm not.
Why don't we just confirm in terms of who is eligible to hear and vote on this application?
Chandra is eligible. Beth is eligible. David Bradford is eligible. Joe Caulfield, Jessica. Gary and Regina, you got my emails?
You did, and I watched.
Okay, so Regina is eligible. Hold on. Okay, so Regina.
I watched. Yeah.
The new calendar dates. Is that okay?
Do you want to see?
Like, I know there's the 28th and the.
Wait. Mr. Clausen, hold on. We called the case, so during the next break, I'm sure Mr. Caulfield's kind enough to give me a list of the dates.
So if Gary and Regina have listed, they're also eligible. So the only one who's not eligible, I believe Yelena was absent for the December hearing and did not. So he's the only one who's not eligible.
Okay. Will they need to sign?
Yes.
I
Okay.
do have it.
We'll
Okay.
take care of that.
Okay, so you were previously sworn in, so you can.
We remain
proceed.
sworn in,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Board, thank you for having me today here. This is my third appearance here, and I think this time, from the last time, we took a lot of your feedback back the first time, then the second time, and this time we actually went to the drawing board, me and my wife, we tried to take all the feedback in terms of a lot of compromises we tried to make in the house and in the way we both work from our own work from home, so even office situation, and just so that there are few of you who've, I think, not been here. The purpose is that we're trying to build 2 bedrooms for both my daughters. And we have thought about alternatives if this doesn't work. Like, we love our Tudor house, the old house, which is now one of the few remaining in the street. And hopefully we have done everything here to prove you that we don't have to go to drastic measures after that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, to jump to a
Mr.
point,
Babb, you're considered still sworn, right? And your license remains in good standing?
yes, sir. All right, so to kind of start with that point, I have a lot of different exhibits I want to pass around. They're mostly just pictures. Should I mark each one individually, or can we mark a group of pictures as one exhibit?
Just hold on a second, I just want to make sure that, I don't think we've marked any exhibits.
No, we have not.
Okay, so, let's see, what's your pleasure? What would you like to do?
2 exhibits. One is a group of photos
Okay, we're gonna mark the group
of
of
individual
photos.
homes that illustrate a point I'm about to make, and
Okay,
the
hold
other
on a second, group of photos, A1, and how
Okay.
many photos?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay. Not showing other homes in the neighborhood, or what is it?
Yes, yes.
Hold on. Okay, so that's gonna be A1. And we'll set a proper foundation for these exhibits as we get to them, but just for marking purposes, what do you wanna call, what's A2?
A2 is just the neighborhood in general. I have a Google site image and I have a street image.
So 2 photos. Aerial of the neighborhood, and then what's the other one?
Street view,
Of what, of the house?
the neighborhood.
Okay, so we're gonna mark that as A2. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to start by introducing Exhibit A2. Exhibit A2 illustrates the street next door to the house that is the subject of this variance request. 4 of the 5 houses shown in the photo to the left have been torn down in the last 4 or 5 years and replaced with new structures. The reason these homes are being torn down is because in many cases, their size and their shape and their configuration and their styles have outlived their usable lives. It's something we as architects don't always want to do, but I get asked to do a lot. The Mundras are trying to keep their home. Achieving these 2 bedrooms has been their work for the last year, and I am the second architect to have worked for them. So I appear tonight to show the reduced intensity of the application of the project, illustrate the surrounding homes' similar sizes and makeup, and demonstrate that this board can approve this application within the general development pattern of the neighborhood. The first application presented at the November hearing by another architect requested 3,863 square feet, or an FAR of 43%. That is a 19.4% deviation from the allowed. It is excessive. At the March 3 hearing, I was able to reduce the application to 3,659, or 40.62%, 36 allowed, a 12.8% deviation. And tonight I am presenting a 3,459 square foot version, or 38.4% FAR variance, where 36 is the max you can have. So we're 2.4% over. The deviation is 6.6%. The variance is a mere 135 square feet more than what is allowed. So 3459 is 135 square feet above what's allowed. That 135 is not enough to put 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, but I'm going to show you how my design
Can I
achieves
just,
that.
can we interrupt for 1 second? You're saying the proposed FAR now is 3459 in terms of how many square feet? Because on our schedule, it says 3357. It says you're taking it up to,
37, it's that, yes, it's this. My
It's
number's wrong here. So it's even smaller, I'm sorry. It's 3357,
which is 37.28, that's correct?
37.28.
So it's even 1.28%?
Yeah, I just, in writing this, I just transcribed the wrong numbers. But these plans are correct. So we're now a mere, the FAR allowed 3242, we're at 3357. We are 135 square feet over. Okay. In this application, we now only expand the rear of the house by 5.6 feet. I have one of the Exhibit 8-1s that I'll start passing around. This exhibit shows the rear of the house, and it shows the house next door.
Is that an exhibit?
Exhibit A1, I marked it. This is one of the 8 photographs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So it shows the kitchen of the house, and what we're doing is expanding effectively in alignment with the kitchen, 5 feet 6 inches from this wall to the edge of that kitchen on the second floor. The second photo shows the house next door and just how far back these new construction houses extend. Our addition is only going to align with that kitchen. It's a very small impact. And quite honestly, in the context of the impact to the neighborhood, ours is at best de minimis. We were able to make the 2 rooms work by removing quite a bit of the interior of the second floor. We achieved this by removing the existing hall bathroom, which I'll show you from the prior application. In the prior application, we had 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and 2 closets built here, expanded into the backyard. This existing full bathroom and this existing 21 by 13 bedroom are now substantially impacted by us pushing into the existing home the preponderance of our proposed addition. So, shown on sheet A1,
And
You see-
can you just identify, Mr. Babb, the data, the revision date of those plans?
I'm gonna have to do this verbally because we show the revision date as being February 21st, but the revision date that's before our last hearing. So we didn't revise the revision dates on these plans. So would it be okay if I testified that the revision dates are yesterday?
Hold on. Is the plans that you're referring to, are they the same plans that were submitted to the board?
Yes,
And those plans are dated February 21st, 2025, but you're telling me that there's 2 sets of 2/21/25 plans?
that's correct.
And that the ones that you've most recently submitted to the board and that you are displaying here are actually revised subsequent to 2/21/25.
That's right. And one of our drafts people didn't revise the date.
Okay. So when do you recall when you submitted these to the board approximately?
Approximately 3 weeks ago.
So we want to pick an approximate date when they were submitted, and let's call it that's the date.
That's fair.
Because doesn't make any sense to call it yesterday the date or today.
Okay, it's approximately March 20th.
We'll go with that.
Okay.
So let me point to these and say these are now going to be the March 20th exhibit. And on that March 20th exhibit, sheet A1 illustrates how,
We're not calling it an exhibit. We're going to call it the March 20th plans with a 2/21/25 date. Right?
3/21/25. Is that what you said?
No, 2/21/25. That's what I'm looking at.
Oh, the original date, I'm sorry. The revised date is 3/20/25.
Correct.
All right, thank you for that. All right, I'm gonna go back. So on A1, we now show that what used to be a 13 by 21 bedroom now became a 13 by 9 bedroom, which he uses as his office, so it's a rather small office. And that the hall bathroom, which was laid out in here, has completely disappeared, so that these bedrooms could be brought into the house, whereby the expansion is only 5 feet 6 inches from the rear wall over that kitchen bump out that I passed out in Exhibit A1. The application before you also eliminates the prior request for combined side yard setbacks. So by making this addition smaller, it also got narrower. And therefore, we no longer are requiring the C variances for combined side yards. That leaves us with just one variance for floor area ratio, where 37.28 is proposed and 36% is allowed. I have one more exhibit. This is an exhibit of the homes of the neighborhood. The first one is the subject property, and the remainder are all the houses next door or nearby. Every one of these new houses has an attic. The Mundras don't have an attic. The attic is an intensity to a neighborhood because of the towering height of it. This application meets some of the requirements in which your very board looks at. We are not proposing a third floor. We're simply trying to expand the back so he can get his 2 bedrooms. The impact from doing that is significantly better and improvement over what's in the neighborhood with these new homes. The owners have considered a knockdown of the home. One of the things we talked about was, can we just put the garages in the basement? Remember, our garages are on the first floor and are part of our FAR. So while those other homes, and you'll see them, are substantially bigger, all of them benefit from the placement of the garage in the basement, which I must say, in a flood zone that section of Milburn's becoming, is not very good planning. This is not in the flood zone, but it's not too far from these properties. By placing the garage in the basement, it would free up FAR. That was one of the plans. Providing relief tonight allows the Mundras to remain in this house and eliminate the detriment of this neighborhood facing yet another knockdown. Its construction is modest in size, and although requiring an FAR variance, partially due to the fact that the FAR includes the garages, this application does so without undermining the intent and purpose of the township zoning ordinance. The relief sought is now de minimis, and it's within the limits and the deviations which this board has approved in many recent meetings. We know that an oversized property, which this is, can accommodate this expansion without any problems associated with the proposed floor area ratio permitted by the ordinance. But a 1.28 deviation above the 36 is nothing. It's minor, and without it, the alternative is either they move, but they have to do something because these 2 girls of theirs are fighting over. So this is an important night for them. This is a cottage Tudor-style house, which, unlike many of the surrounding homes, is not being torn down. It represents the exact type of application which this board ought approve, and an alternative to somebody ripping yet another house down on Locust, because you'll see there 4 of the 5 homes on his side of the street are gone. The approval maintains the house appearance and substantially does not create any bulk for the neighborhood, as I testified, since the rear addition is going directly over the kitchen bump out, and no more. By not tearing down this house, construction sought significantly reduces the detriment to the surrounding area, and as such, advances the public good without impairing the intent and purpose of the zone plan and the ordinance. Thank you.
Did you get rid of the side yard setback variance?
We
you
did.
say? You did, so you have 1 variance you need?
We're one variance. That variance is for an FAR, which requires 5 of this board's approval votes. 36% is allowed, and we are proposing now 37.28,
Okay.
135 square feet over.
So 606.2, I'm gonna say ELF, it's not really ELF, but it looks like ELF. Is that correct? You're not going
That's
to-
correct.
Okay, thanks. Can I ask another question?
Go ahead.
How far over the kitchen bump out are you going to be protruding into the backyard? Does it end with the kitchen bump out? I had trouble.
It ends directly over the kitchen bump out. I'm pointing to sheet A1, first floor plan, the kitchen bump out, and the line in which our second floor is following that line.
Okay. Can I ask another question? I think I asked this back in December. Did you get water during any of the hurricanes? I know Locust Street did flood, but when one of
We
the.
did not, we didn't even put any insurance, we were the only house who did not claim any insurance.
Okay.
We did
Glad
not,
to
the
hear
whole,
that.
there was FEMA there, every house claimed it, we were the only, we had very little water. And there was no, we didn't put in
Yeah.
any. we didn't-
I know there was water down there, but glad to hear your house was spared.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah. Oh,
How many bedrooms are there now, Tom?
How many bedrooms are in the house today?
There are 3 on the top and, yeah, 3, the downstairs is kind of. a-
Technically, there's 4 bedrooms,
Yeah,
Joe.
but that's one is like a pantry.
But keep in mind, 2 work-at-home people.
Sure.
So they have 2 daughters, so you wonder why do they need 2 more bedrooms? They need the bedrooms because one of them is, they have in-laws that travel and stay at the house, so it's just a lifestyle.
The office becomes like, we need office less.
Right.
So it's 4 now, it'll be 6.
It would technically be 6, but more likely 5. That office
Yes.
that we have shown here is 9 feet.
And then the 4th one was not never like a real bedroom.
I understand.
Yeah,
Basement.
No, it's on the first floor.
It's on the first floor, but it's like,
Oh, yes.
it's connected to the kitchen pantry, it's connected to the kitchen
That's it.
pantry.
Yeah. The dilemma for this application has been its largeness and my lack of presenting neighborhood data, which I came tonight with, and imparting why I think this board can approve this application within the standards of the land use ordinances and how it advances, I think, one of the intents, which is to allow somebody who has an option to knock it down like everyone else has done, to just building an addition.
And we also made a lot of compromises here because we were wanting 2 bathrooms for our daughters, separate bathroom, but now we are having them work on 1 bathroom and share that too. Like,
But they
that
have the
was
2
a big-
sinks.
They'll have 2 sinks, but that's it, and that was a big compromise we had to explain to our
I
kids.
see the wall between the 2 sinks. That's the.
Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a wall so that they can feel they have it, but they
Yeah.
have to share it. So we had to like, the 10-year-old, it was very difficult to go through that, but I think she understands and agrees to it.
This is part of the problem of today's society. Your kids are 10 years old, demanding that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
do you have,
But now also on the first floor, Tom, that's just gonna be an expanded kitchen, that space, correct?
No, it's there today and there's no expansion to the first floor.
No expansion.
This
We're not-
kitchen remains as is. Sheet A1. Yeah, no, nothing.
And so underneath the extension is nothing?
Um,
Be part of the deck?
yeah,
It's not
6
that.
There's
feet
a
of deck
big
will be
sun,
covered.
the kitchen is high.
Approximately 5 feet 6 inches
Okay,
of the deck to the right of the kitchen will be covered.
good, okay, perfect. Thanks.
did you have a question? Okay, our board attorney is going to ask a question.
Mr. Bay, you've testified that there's been a number of knockdowns or tear downs along the street. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And have there have been homes developed after those properties have been knocked down, correct?
Yes.
Do you still feel, it's a leading question, but I'm going to ask it for the record. Do you still feel that even though you proffered that you want to maintain the Tudor-style home and on this neighborhood, does it still fit in with the neighborhood now that the neighborhood has become a bit more modernized with rebuilds?
I do, and let me explain why. The fabric of a neighborhood is not the commonality of structures. It's the diversity of structures that gives a neighborhood appeal. So we don't want 13 houses that look all modern. I think the inventory of Tudor cottages is diminishing. The Mundras, you have an application here who's fighting to just get room for their 2 kids and are willing to keep the house and invest in the property, which is why I think this board, this is one of the sound foundations of zoning boards of adjustments, to have these type of applications get approved because of the alternatives.
Thank you.
I thought so. This was like 8.
Any other questions from board members?
So the FAR is for 1.28% over 36%. Just because this is like third time we're coming in here, where was it at the beginning, the before the first application? Where are we taking? We are taking-
I'll repeat my opening statement. The first application presented in November called for 3,863 square feet or 43% FAR, where 36 is allowed.
My question is different. Where was it before? Where is it today, before construction?
The square footage, I can tell you that.
Existing.
The existing home, on my cover sheet, C1, you'll see the middle column is existing. We have 3121 square feet.
What is the percentage?
What's the
You're
existing
asking a
FAR?
percentage. He's asking percentage.
It's right there, 34.65.
So it's 34.65. We had asked for 43 and we went back and started reducing
Thank you.
everything.
That's very
And then, yeah, so from that, we started reducing the bathrooms, we started reducing everything. Even we had in the beginning, in the first floor additions, which we removed completely. In the first one, we had additions.
Sorry, what is the existing FAR currently as stands right now?
The existing FAR is 3121 square feet or 34.65%, where 36 is allowed.
34.65. Okay, so you are conforming. You're going to 37.
So you're down by 1.35% below the permitted FAR, but you want to go above 1.3%.
Oh, yeah, the nature of this application is to expand the second floor of the house to add 2 bedrooms, which are substantially like 300 and some square feet. The reason we got this down so much is because the Mungers have agreed to tear out a big portion of the existing second floor. We're taking out the hall bathroom so we can shove these bedrooms into the house partially. And this is as small as it gets. Without this, there's no application.
Yeah, we're reducing even the current footprint, so that the bathroom is getting tear down, it's just.
Yeah.
Whatever the best way possible we wanted to give, with the least amount addition.
Yeah, approximately half of the addition is in the existing house, in a hall bathroom, in an existing bedroom, all of that's getting smaller.
Any other questions from board members? Anyone in the audience have any questions for the applicant? Questions only? Does anyone in the audience have any comments on this matter? Okay, I don't see anyone, so I will close the public portion and circle back to the board. What does everyone think?
Just to remind the board, as Mr. Bayer stated, this is a form of a D variance which requires 5 affirmative votes out of 7 to gain approval.
Does anyone want to start?
All right, I'll start since I did watch the video last time. It was very funny that you thought I was watching the video from home. So that's terrible. Anyway, I appreciate all of the modifications that you've gone and that you've negotiated with your client and how you've come down quite a bit from the original application back in 2024. And it seems like a modest neighborhood. I love Tudor houses and I'm glad that you're keeping this up. I think that does fit in perfectly in the South Mountain neighborhood and I appreciate the definition. I'm gonna say that I'm in an area that does flood. I'm always a little bit worried about approving it, but I could live with this because you have come down, you negotiated, but also it's just a smidge over the allowable 1.28%. I could live with it.
I could be supportive as well. I think we've worked with the board in trying to come to the limits and it's slightly above, but I think your starting point itself was near the FAR limit, and I think slightly going above that is, after working with us and trying to come with a solution. So I think I could be supportive. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I agree with those comments. I do, I think I recognize from the pictures that a lot of the other houses in the neighborhood go back further. I do think your house seems to be a little bit wider, which is perhaps why you have the FAR issue. But I think that the proposed addition is workable. I won't say de minimis, but I think it's workable. And I would be supportive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I think the reduction of the 2 bathrooms up to, because there were, looked like there were 4 bathrooms and one that upstairs and the what's downstairs. So I think this makes it feel more like still like a single family home. I think it was just looking so much was piled in. So I think they're tasteful. The architecture is appropriate. way addressing the comments from the board. So I think it's a nice application.
Yeah, we gave you a tremendous amount of feedback last month, and I think you took a lot of it on board. And I agree with you. If you're not doing this, you're not doing anything, you know, at this stage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, I'll add that I don't, I think with this addition, I don't see any detriment to the neighborhood. I think that that it can handle, the whole neighborhood can handle an addition of this size. To Regina's concerns about flooding, this is all on like a elevated second floor. This isn't adding, more coverage. So I could support it too. I appreciate you listening to the feedback that we gave and working with us.
I agree with all of the comments so far. I think Mr. Bailey did a really nice job of bringing it in, pinching it back in. Looking at the proposed site plan, it is de minimis. I would agree with that. And I would have no problem with it.
Thank you.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the application.
I can second.
Shai Harjani,
Yes.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Regina Truitt,
Yes.
Beth Zoll,
Yes.
David Bradford,
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Esther Black.
Yes.
Thank you, board.
Is there another one of these? Exhibit A1, there's supposed to be 8 photos.
Yeah.
I only have 7. And I have no idea what these are.
We're
I
not.
don't think these
That
are-
was A2.
No, this is A1.
Oh, you're right. Maybe
I
those are
think,
part
I
of
think
A1.
those are part of A1.
So now there's 9.
What, can you show me those two that you're referring to?
It's like the back.
One of.
I'll ask
That was
Mr.
A2.
Beck.
That was part of the eight. Ask Mr. Bayer to clarify. I'd say two.
What are they? They're not A1.
They are, they're all part of A1.
No, now there's 9.
Mr. Bayer, what you just crumpled up, was that shown to the board at any point?
Yes. I'll change it to 9.
You can try to get by us.
Sure you got that now?
There's a lot you can get away with. Okay. Let's rock it out.
Okay, next up, we have calendar 4006-24. The address is 3 Cora Way. The applicant is Robert Hessels.
Okay, we'll get to
They're all there. Should we put them over there?
Miss, oh, okay. You swear to him first, yeah.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony about to give in this proceeding be the truth? The whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Just state your name for the record, please.
Robert Hessels.
Okay.
Mr. Hessels, are you, it says that you're the applicant. Are you what capacity are you here?
I'm the owner of RDH Design Group. We did the design work, and I did the application on behalf of Dr. Abraham, who's the owner who's here.
Okay, is Dr. Abraham going to be testifying? Is he going to be speaking at all?
He may, yeah.
So why don't we have you come up and get sworn in?
Raise your right hand, please. You swear affirm the testimony that you give in tonight's proceeding, be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Just state your name for the record, please.
Jesus Abraham.
Just spell it.
Jesus is J-E-S-U-S. Last name is G-O-M-E-C dash Abraham, A-B-R-A-H-A-M.
Thank you.
Let me just get some clear. So this application was filed as Mr. Hessels is the applicant. But really, you're the applicant. This is your property. This is for your development,
Correct.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you authorize Mr. Hessels to submit the application on your behalf?
Yes, I did.
And he is your design professional for this application?
Correct.
And have you reviewed the application materials?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and do you believe that they are accurate in terms of their contents and what is being requested of the board?
That's correct. They represent what the application is.
We're going to in a second.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you. That's important clarification. And just so the world and those in the audience know, when one files a development application, the developer, the owner should be the one who's filing it on their behalf, not the professional. You're of course entitled and encouraged to have many professionals help you with the project, but it's the property owner who really should be the applicant for a single-family home application. So that being said, so Mr. Hessels, what is your profession?
I'm a landscape architect and I'm the owner of RDH Design Group.
So you're going to be testifying as a landscape architect for this application?
I'm actually going to be testifying as the design, to do the conceptual designs for the architecture of the pool house.
Okay, so you're not an architect.
I'm not an architect.
And so the plans, the RDH Design Group plans that were submitted, they were done by you,
They were done by my office.
by your office? Okay.
Yeah.
I see that there is a PE, Mr. Horrell,
Yeah, he's here. Brian Horley.
Horley?
Yes.
Okay, he's here?
Yes.
That's, okay. And so, Mr. Horley, you're gonna be testifying?
Yes, on behalf of the engineering as needed, yes.
Okay, got it. So why don't we have both of them get sworn and then we'll have them qualified independently.
If you just raise your right hand, you swear affirm testimony about the given tonight's proceeding, be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Just state your name, spell it for the record.
Brian Horley,
Spell your last name.
H-O-A-R-L-E. You want my qualifications now?
We'll start with you, if you could give us your
Right,
qualifications.
I had my bachelor's in engineering from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in 1991. I received an MBA from Rensselaer in 1994. My professional license in 2002, and it's been in good standing with the state ever since. I've testified mainly in Essex and Morris County, and I have testified in front of this board pre-COVID, or just before pre-COVID.
Thank you. Your qualifications have been accepted. Mr. Hessels, could you give us yours?
Again, I'm a graduate of Rutgers University. In 1991, I studied architecture, landscape architecture, and urban planning and design. I opened RDH Design Group in 97, offering exterior small architecture like pavilions and pool houses, pergolas, things like that, as well as civil engineering services. I got my license in landscape architecture in 99. I got a planning license in 2001. And
When you say your planning license, you're gonna be testifying as a professional planner?
no.
No, okay.
And I've been in front of this board. I've been in front of a lot of boards over my 34 years of experience. Basically, that's it.
Your qualifications have been accepted.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to start by just going overall with the application. Dr. Abraham and his wife Sandra Winkler would like to construct a pool house on their property. Also in that application, there's a set of basement steps on the residence, which we can discuss a little bit. Both are in the rear yard. In order to do these projects, they require 3 variances. Building coverage variance permitted is 13%. They're asking for 15.54. Lot coverage is 35%, asking for 38.94. And max accessory use coverage for rear yard is 20%, and they're asking for 25.4%. So that's the overall application. In terms of the design, if you look at page C1, you can see the pool house in the upper right-hand corner of the property. It's 12 feet off the rear line and 23 feet 6 inches off the side yard.
Can you repeat the page? I'm sorry.
C 1.0?
Is it S1?
Yeah, that's one. You would have a similar.
No, you should have a C.
Nope, you do not.
Nobody has a C? Oh boy. Well, that's got all the zoning chart and all the other information on it.
S 1.0. Twice.
Oh, maybe they're just, yeah, the first one should be C 1.0, apologies. And there's 2 S 1.0s.
There are 2 S 1.0.
Yeah, so the first one should be C 1.0.
Okay.
Thank
It's
you.
a typo. So I was saying, sorry about that, the pool house is going to be in that upper right-hand corner, as you can see from that map. And it's 23 feet 6 inches off the side, like I said, 12 feet off the rear. And also in the right rear corner of the residence, there's proposed a basement access set of steps as well. Does everybody see that off the corner? Okay. So those are the two projects within this application. The basement steps themselves, are pretty much self-explanatory. Like I said, they're located in that right corner. They're going to be made of concrete block, wide enough to access the basement. Right now, they're designed at 5 feet wide for additional storage to be able to carry down. Also, along with rebuilding building those steps, the existing portico area in that space is failing, the wall's failing. So that will be rebuilt together in one construction project, if approved. So that's the basement steps. And then I want to turn to A 1.0.
Mr. Hessels, can you just clarify for me, your variances for building coverage, lot coverage, what's the third variance?
Max accessory use coverage.
Do you have that on your plans?
Yeah, it's down, it's number,
Oh, I see it.
yeah, it's 21. On the plans though, it was, the numbers are incorrect. It's actually, the existing is 19.8%.
Okay, so that's where I'm going here.
Yeah.
So the max accessory use coverage, let's just go through the numbers here. What's required?
20%.
Okay, that's permitted. And what is existing?
19.8%.
And what is proposed?
25.4%. Yeah, on this chart, the patio wasn't calculated as accessory.
Right. Okay. So building coverage, lot coverage, and maximum accessory use coverage, those are the 3 variances you're seeking.
Yes,
Are there any other variances required as part of the application?
not that I'm aware.
Okay, thank you.
So turning to the pool house sections that we did. It shows the overall footprint of the structure is 681 square feet. It has a maximum height of 16 feet. And the right and left sides, the center is a gable roof with open air construction, and the right and left sides are enclosed areas with hip roof style. As far as the materials, it's going to match the existing residence. A 1.0, the last one. You got it? Okay. The existing residence has gray siding with white trim, stone veneer, black trim windows. The pool house will look exactly the same as the main house. And on the structure itself, on the left-hand side, that room is 12 feet 5 inches by 11 feet. It will be a bathroom. The center, as I said before, that's like completely open to the outside, no walls. It's going to have a fireplace and just open all the way through the back. And then the right side is a storage room, like a shed, and it's the same size as the bathroom. It's 12 feet 5 inches by 11 feet.
Do you have a floor plan for?
I do have a floor plan. I can do as an exhibit. I didn't put it in with the application.
Sure. We can put it in.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
You want me to write on this one now?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark as A1 floor plan of pool house. What's the date of that?
The date on this is 6/22/23.
Okay. And was that prepared by you or under your supervision?
Yeah, it was under my supervision and by my office.
So why don't you,
I have copies. Should I just pass around the copies? Be easier.
Probably be easier.
What's that? Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry.
better stand.
You take one and just pass it around.
There's a lot of them actually.
Yeah, I made lots.
Thank you.
Does that make more sense? That helps, right? Sorry about that.
All right. So why don't you just very briefly walk through this floor plan that we've marked A1 now that the board members and the public can visualize.
Okay, so as you can see, the left room that I was talking about originally, which is 12'5" by 11 overall, will have a shower, toilet in it, a sink, and closet with a bench seat and some cubbies. That room will also be air conditioned, being proposed to be air conditioned. The main pavilion area, as you can see, it's supported by 4 columns, set up with the main fireplace in the backside. It's completely open, like I originally said. And those overall dimensions, including the pillars and everything, were That was 19'6" by 19'10". That includes the columns and everything. And then the right-hand room is laundry, utilities, and the storage space on the right-hand side. And it's the same size as the bathroom, the left wing.
This property, is it an oversized property?
It's not an oversized lot.
An oversized lot?
No, it's 27 square feet over the allowable. So it just makes it.
Is it over or not over?
It's a conforming lot.
It's a conforming lot by 27 square feet. So the existing, the required is 29,000, the existing is 29,027.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
it's
27 feet over. Okay.
Yeah, it's slightly over what's allowed.
And the width is.
The width conforms, I mean, it's a conforming
with it
lot,
being over as
Yes.
well as the lot depth.
yes.
And your existing building coverage, is that already over?
From the survey and the information that we put, they had it at exactly 13%. Our calculations show it at 13.11.
So it's over
It's
because
slight-
13
yeah.
is permitted, right?
Yeah, slightly over existing.
What about the lot coverage? Is that already over?
That's over too.
Yeah. And maximum accessory coverage is almost over.
Max accessory is like right at the limit.
And this house already has a pool, correct?
Yeah, it has a pool,
And an
patio,
outdoor kitchen and a patio?
yes,
And now you're coming before us to ask for a
pool
full
house,
pool house?
yes.
How big is the pool?
Um,
Looking at the pictures, it looks like it's maybe smaller. than that.
I want to say, what are the dimensions? 16 by 44? 16 by 38? I have the overall square footage.
I'm not that good at math. Somebody would have to tell me what that is.
758 square feet is the existing pool.
So it's pretty, the house, the pool house is slightly smaller than the pool.
Slightly smaller, yeah. Yeah, 681 square feet total.
Just slightly.
The new construction, you're counting the entire footprint of the new construction? Because on the drawing, the new construction, the footprint in the new construction looks, well, they look pretty close, actually.
Yeah, the footprint is 681 square feet. The dash line is the overhang.
What utilities are gonna be going in the utility area?
Electric and a water heater.
Okay, and that comprises how much space? 6 by 6?
Give or take, I mean, that's pretty big, I'd say,
5 by 5.
yeah, max.
Right? So if the utilities are gonna be 5 by 5 max, the balance of that space is going to be for laundry and storage?
Yeah, just for storage. And yeah, maybe a washing machine. I mean, the pool house itself is gonna be winterized. And like I said, the bathroom will have air conditioning for the summertime use.
So both sections will be air conditioned, correct?
No, not the storage area, just the bathroom side.
Is the open air, so that's, none of that is enclosed, that open air pavilion area?
It's completely open. Yeah.
So what would compliance have looked like if you, I mean, could you have complied if you made a smaller pool house? Or is it just too small?
It would just be too small. I mean,
No,
there's,
So it doesn't
All
have
these things
to.
are over the stone.
Yeah, there's no way.
Okay, so,
yeah, it's already,
all right, so
There's-
it's already at
that's,
that.
12 by 11 is a healthy bathroom.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if my master bathroom is 12 by
Yeah,
11, maybe it is, have it is, but that's a big bathroom.
Yep.
You got a, reasonable sized patio area. As Jessica said, you have a bunch of other things that are already big. Is this the smallest this could be? Practically? It couldn't be smaller than this?
I mean, and honestly, yeah, I guess it could be smaller. Yes.
Well, your a designer with a lot of experience.
Yeah.
How much smaller could it be reasonably in your view?
I wouldn't know off the top of my head. I'd have to sit down and kind of redesign and refigure.
What justification, like what is your, what's kind of the positive and negative criteria that you have? I mean, we're talking about an oversized lot. We're talking about building coverage and lot coverage that's already maxed out for a house that has a lot of amenities, a pool, a hot tub, a very large patio, an outdoor kitchen. And now you're coming before us to ask for a pool house, a very large pool house, like need more than just you want it.
No, yeah, understood. I mean, the backyard, I don't know how many people got out there. It's very private in the back. Aesthetically, obviously, it's, it's within keeping of the residents and the area. There's only 2 houses on the cul-de-sac. I mean, it's an extremely private, there's nothing that would, make it like stand out to the public, or be egregious.
Is there any hardship to the property that make this
There is
Justified.
none. It just has a unique shape to it, but there's no hardships.
What's unique about the shape?
Well, the right hand, you got to look at the survey. Do you have that as part of the application?
It's on the front. Let's see one.
I think it's the small.
Yeah, it's the small one. Because the plans, that wedge, there's a wedge like on the northwest property line that carries all the way down the cul-de-sac. It's just a extremely unique shape, which kind of set the house a little bit differently than it would have been, making the backyard a hair smaller.
That has nothing to do with the size of the house you're proposing.
It doesn't.
Right.
No.
You don't have to have the house there or that size. So that's,
You said it has the pool house, right?
you can't change the house.
Mr. Hassel, the survey identifies the proposed basement access steps, and your C10 identifies proposed basement access steps.
Yeah.
They're different. Which one are we going with?
One hasn't gone out to the side, one has.
One's going east. one's going
Oh, it's the
north.
one on the C1.0.
What's the
They
square
come out to the
footage?
side.
What's the square footage for the staircase?
The actual steps themselves?
Well, I think you have a little platform in there on the bottom. Too.
Yeah, it's
I was at the facility at the York.
You want to know the square footage, you said?
Sure.
Yeah. 242 minus 134. It's 108 square feet total.
And what's the purpose for the staircase?
To be able to access the basement. To gain access to the basement.
Do they have access to the basement now?
No. They
From
do.
the outside, they don't have access.
No.
From the inside, they have access.
Yes.
Is there a bathroom in the basement?
I would have to pass that on to.
These are half bathroom.
Mr. Hassel, also on your last sheet, your A10, you have a 16-foot height, then you also have a chimney that's going up another 2.3 feet, 2 foot 3 inches above that.
Yes.
So 18 feet 3 inches is your max height?
Yeah, including that. Yeah, I guess it would be.
So,
I had the roof height at 16 feet.
and you're required in that area is how much, do you know?
It's 18. I mean, we would shrink that down to meet, obviously.
Yeah, we finished, Mr. Caulfield.
Yeah, I'm
So-
done.
so- Yeah, so quick question, when I looked at the plan and then I went to the property today, just ring the doorbell, but there were people cleaning in there. I was wondering why you need a pool house when your pool is not that far from the back of your house.
Can I answer that?
Yeah,
I mean-
you want to come up?
Yeah, sure. So the reason of the pool house is because there is no bathroom, there is no changing area, and you have to access the kitchen with, my daughter have now teenagers. When we moved, they were, 9 years old. I didn't think that through properly. So all the girls come back to the property all wet. They need to pass through the kitchen. in order to get to the half bathroom that is in the first floor. Most of the bathrooms are in the upper floor. And that's what I want to keep some privacy. And the room with the bathroom will have also a changing station, also with some benches so they can hold, their friends and so on. My daughter play hockey and she's in the scouts of the town. And sometimes they do activities and so on. So it's very hard to bring all these girls and be exposed, almost, bikinis walking through the house. So I think that's the main reason for that section of the house. Now, the storage that we talk about, I have furniture, pool furniture. I have umbrellas. I have the cover of the pool that is winterized. And that's really, heavy, and it makes space. So to make it, this is the closest space we can, put a stack, all the, the winter stuff in the summer, and then get in the summer, during the winter time, be able to store all the, the furniture and so on. And then during the summertime, in the winter time, then obviously the mesh for the pool will cover the pool because it's a requirement. And that's what I think, it keeps the privacy, number one. So they don't need to be exposed as they walk around the house and wet the floor. I mean, I have to go through that, and unfortunately, my wife was not too happy about it, but hey, I took the fall. And I cannot make the pool smaller. We make a pool size that is appropriate for us to swim and as a family. And the project was already, I bought the house already built up, so it's not like I was planning ahead. And I'm working to what is allowed and what is convenient and safe, so to speak. If you ask me, the utility is huge. It will add safety, cleanliness, and hygiene, and proper storage to my furniture and so on. Because during the winter time, if I don't, now I'm using my garage. And now my kids are going to start driving, so I need to get stuff out of the garage to a storage unit that will be that. And, it makes it safer because sometimes during the winter time, furniture flies and, the cover of the pool, potentially one time the cover of the bathtub did fly to another property and my friend has to go and rescue it. So it creates issues that, potentially I can avoid by having in storage outside.
Is there any other place in your existing house that you could meet those needs of the girls that are, I hear you're paying with the red girls
No.
in bathing suits, like the basement steps, they could access bathrooms in your
Yeah,
basement?
they might get a very small bathroom, but there is no shower. So that's what I want to create, a shower.
Could
so
you
they
put a
can-
shower in your basement, a full bathroom?
No, there is no space.
But you could potentially, just thinking outside the box, because this is a big house and you're over
Well, the thing
in
is,
all.
the thing is that that bathroom has the basin and the toilet, and that's it. There's no-
But you could renovate it.
You know what, I think this is
No.
getting,
Okay.
we're getting into,
Yeah.
personal things
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
don't
that-
relate to, our decision
point.
and things that we're not supposed to even be taking into account.
Right.
So.
It's not a
um,
hardship under the law, unfortunately.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions
So-
for Mr.
So
Hessels?
I have a question. Your existing usage for building coverage and lot coverage is already over the allowed limit.
Yes.
Did you get an approval for that at the time?
I
Was
bought
that-
the house already built. I don't know. I didn't know this.
What happened was this was a subdivision. Both houses were brand new, built I believe by the same contractor. And plans that were submitted showed conforming houses built to the maximum building coverage. My guess is they presented it at 13%. And
Net
who's to say when it got built, maybe it was a little bit, and so it came to 13.1, I think is the percentage. You're really impossible to distinguish at the time of the construction.
Right.
I just want to tell the board also that the house, because it's a subdivision, also, I take care of half of the basin that correspond to the property, but it's assigned to my neighbor. But I do take care of the property, I pay maintenance, I keep it level, clean, and so on, so the water runs properly. And that's a very large segment of property that is not being accounted by what I pay taxes for and maintenance for.
I don't understand that. What are you referring to?
It's
Not that it's.
It's
I'm
your
sure it's
files
probably on the
and
back
retention.
left
There's a
hand.
detention basin
It's
across.
detention
the-
The detention basin.
Yeah,
right?
it's a
That's-
detention
that's where you have
basin.
the subdivision.
That's
Yeah,
what's
that's
on
right.
file.
That's,
The condition of
yeah,
approval.
that was the condition of the.
Oh, okay.
Anyone else from the board have questions for Mr. Hessels? Is there anyone from the audience that has questions for Mr. Hessels?
Can we,
Or Dr. Alexander.
Or, yeah, yes, yes.
at this time, can we just, based on the comments from the board, can we sort of go back and look at the design and reconvene at a later date?
Sure, I mean, would you like to hear some comments, or you want to do it just based on the
I think,
questions?
I
that
think
you've
we kind of
received?
have a good amount of comments already.
We have a couple. If I could ask one question, just the three variances that we're looking for today, we kind of talked about the first two, the building coverage and the lot coverage, and I think we can, read the room on what the opinions are there. But for the last one, which is the maximum accessory coverage, from an engineering perspective, what I'm seeing here that I don't see in other townships is the patio is considered an accessory structure. And in most townships, that's not. The structure is a shed or a building or something else. So that's adding to the fact that it's over. And the second thing just to note is that the front yard setback on the property is 40 feet and the house is currently at 60. That calculation is only on the rear yard. If the house was 10 feet more forward to the front property line, I don't think that max accessory structure for the 700 square feet would even be a variance. So I just want to put that one out there that, of the other two, I think we are understanding where we're going, but that the third one I think is limited by the size of the rear yard.
The front yard was determined based
Based
on
on the.
the
Yeah,
average
I mean,
front yard setback.
Yeah.
That was
I-
the created.
I'm just gonna add, I mean, I think this is an outrageous ask, for this property and for a house that already has all of these amenities, and then to come before the board, when you're already over on built-in coverage, or already over on lot coverage, and you're this close to being over on max, accessory coverage. Everyone wants, who has a pool, wants a pool house. Just because you want it, doesn't mean you get it. I don't know for me personally that there's, much that you could come back with that would, make me feel differently, but, but absolutely, you could try, and if you wanted to hear any more comments, I'm sure other board members would be,
Sure, I mean, we can hear some more comments.
if anyone else wants to just add
I'm
this
just gonna
one back.
reiterate, I agree completely with what this Glass just said. I'm not sure there's anything you can do because you're already over, the existing is over, and now you're coming back for more. There's honestly very little that I think would ever make me approve a pool house on this property. I did go to the property today and I was impressed by that it would look very, very crowded, and it would look crowded, but also it would be so far over. I couldn't have got in good conscience ever approve a pool house here.
I'll go. I was there. Dr. Abrams showed me around. Thank you. Sunday. It's big. It's very, very, very big. I'll leave my comments there. I agree with Regina. I agree with Ms. Glad as well. So.
Were you?
No, it's just.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, look, I agree with those comments too. I mean, certainly nothing like what has been proposed gets anywhere near a possible variance in my mind. So I just don't think the proofs are anywhere near being close to being established, but you can come back if you have a different idea.
That being said, we've been kind of ignoring the second part of this, which is the proposed basement access steps. I don't know if the pool house wasn't there, where this would take the calculations, with the need for, variances. But I could potentially be in favor of that. And, again, we can't get into your personal hardships. As a board, we're not allowed to consider that. But in my mind, it seems like it could solve a lot of the issues that, you spent some time talking about. There's a bathroom in the basement and, if there's a bathroom in the basement, there's obviously a place for people to change. And then you would, by having these steps, you would have the direct access, into and out of the basement instead of having to walk through the kitchen if that was a concern. Again, we don't need to get into personal issues, but because you brought it up. So, do you still want to come back? Do you?
Well, so just so everyone's aware, those comments are comments that the applicant has asked the board to give in terms of some feedback with regard to the application based on the proofs presented so far.
Yep.
But the applicant has the right to ask for a continuance if they wish, and then to think
Sure.
about,
Yeah.
the comments from the board,
Yes.
and we can reconvene at a later date, or you could withdraw without prejudice, you could modify the plan, there's a lot you could do.
Understood.
Okay. Do you want us to do the date?
Yeah, if it's possible, sure.
I would say probably the soonest we could do it would be June 9th.
June 9th? And that would be at what address?
That would be at 434 Milburn Avenue, Milburn Board of Education, Education Center Building. 7 o'clock.
With no further notice being required of the applicant. I would just ask as a matter of housekeeping that a letter be submitted to Ms. Davitt to the extent we need to extend in time, and then further to clarify as to who the identity of the applicant is.
Okay.
So the records are reflected in that report.
So, I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Sure.
I wasn't writing it down.
That's all right. Well, so we're carrying this application to the board's meeting of June 9th, 2025. That will be held at the Board of Education Building at 434 Milburn Avenue, beginning at 7 o'clock PM. No further notice will be required of the applicant. I just asked that you submit a letter to Ms. Davitt, not only extending any time for the board's decision, should that be applicable, but also to clarify that in fact, the applicant for purposes of this application is not Mr. Hessels, but rather Dr. Abraham.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna take a 1-minute break.
1 minute?
One minute.
No, that's
Oh, I've got so many tickets.
Oh, my.
Yes, we're back on. Can everyone turn their mics back on? They're back on. Okay, next we have calendar 4014-24. The property location is 19 Reef Circle, and the applicant is Allure and Petacatla.
Who's gonna be,
I'm going to be starting to speak, but I think we all will.
you wanna do everyone at once?
Sure.
Why don't we do everyone at once? I'm gonna sit up here and finish. Do you swear, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear affirm the testimony you give in today's proceeding to be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
We'll start with you, your name first.
Nihar Allure, Nihar Allur.
Samira Bedakutla,
Just
Sameera Beddakotla.
Sergio Chavarria, architect.
Just spell your last name.
Last name C-H-A, V as in Victor, A-R-R-I-A.
Thank you.
May I start?
Sure.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I am Nihar Allure, and I'm here accompanied by my better half Samira Bedakotla, and we both are the co-applicants for this request today. We also have our architect Sergio Chavarria, who's joining us. And just to give a little bit of a background to the request, we're looking to add one additional bedroom upstairs on top of our existing garage. And I work 5 days a week from home and out of the basement today. I'm looking to also have an upstairs office so that we could work. My wife also works 2 days during the week from home. So we're looking to have a better office space upstairs as well, next to the bedroom that we want to build for our son. We are a family of 4, my wife and I, and our 5-year-old son, and my father, who lives with us as well. We bought this house right before the pandemic, literally a month before our son was born, and our son now is 5 years old. He's part of the pre-K at Southmont, and he's going to go to Wyoming. And the intent of building this room is so that he can continue to have his own space as he continues to go to schools within Melbourne. I'm happy to share any additional details as needed, but otherwise I'd love to get Sergio to be able to answer all the technical questions as well. Thank you.
Can I have your qualifications, please?
Sure, I'm a licensed architect, state of New Jersey, in addition to 9 additional jurisdictions. I graduated in '91 from NJIT with Bachelor of Architecture, and I've been licensed in the state of New Jersey since 2003. All 10 licenses that I have are in good standing.
Thank you. And you've testified before boards before?
Yes, I have.
Have you testified before?
This one may be many, many moons ago, but Maplewood, Livingston, Morristown, Newton, Dover, in residential and commercial capacity.
Your qualifications are accepted.
Thank you. So basically, I could just describe the project in general. The 2 variances that we're seeking are basically pertaining to the side yard encroachment. So as Mr. Allure said, we're basically proposing to add a level above the existing garage, single 1-car garage, and expand towards the rear. The setbacks to the rear are conforming. All other, the percentage coverage, FAR, those are also conforming. They're under the max. The only encroachment that we're making a little bit closer to this is the side yard going from 5.7 feet to 2 feet. And the reason we're doing that is because if you look at the plan, maybe go to the A1 sheet that shows the proposed addition above the lower plan is the garage level, and the upper plan is the second floor level. We're proposing a 2-foot cantilever to the side yard above the garage wall. And the reason is because If we don't do that, it becomes a very long space. It would be 9'4" versus the 11'4" that we're proposing on the upper level. And that's what Mr. Ramu was indicating, that room would end up becoming his son's bedroom in the future. The other space right now would also become their shared home office space. So we're proposing a 2-foot cantilever to the side yard and a 18-inch cantilever to the rear of the garage, but the rear is still within conformance of the rear setback.
So I'm sorry, are you saying that if you didn't have the cantilever, it would?
It would be a
remove-
narrow space. It'd be 9'4" versus 11'4".
But it would still require the variances? for
Either way,
side
it would.
yard-
Yeah, it would be
side yard setback?
non-conforming, correct. The space that we're basically expanding above where I'm labeling the existing home office to the left. Below that is actually an covered open patio, which they have existing pavers, so that's actually not even going to be an impact with the coverage.
So what's the renovated home office going to be? So on drawing A1, you have home office reno or renovated.
That's an existing bedroom.
Okay, so is it gonna go back to a bedroom?
No, that's what they want to keep as a home office,
Shared home office.
shared home office.
So you're now gonna have 2 home offices?
Yes, for now. And
Sorry. The one that says home office new, that's going to be our son's bedroom. It doesn't have a bathroom, it's just one room. And we'd like to use it for our son. That's the one that goes above the garage. And the other one that says home office reno, that's going to go back a little, that's going to be the office.
That's gonna stay as an office?
That's going to stay as an office, yes.
Did you consider any other locations for the home office / son's bedroom where, you wouldn't be, 2 feet off of the property line?
I don't think there's any other place we could do it. Like, the only other place would have to be the basement where my husband already is. But it's completely enclosed and there's not much light coming in there.
Can you describe the neighboring, the use that's at that property line? So what is on the neighbor side of that property line? How far is the distance from your home?
Where is the house on lot 8?
the adjoining lot,
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. It's not on the survey. So the survey we have is of our property,
Okay. Do you have any type of aerial?
not with me, no.
No?
We would have street view,
The other street view?
but yeah, we don't have a picture. We don't have a printout of that.
Can you
Do you know whether
describe
the house has windows on that side?
Yeah, so it does have windows.
And
Yeah.
where are those windows relative to the proposed roof?
So they're not directly facing us, the house next to us, because we're part of this cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Those windows are actually facing up a section of a backyard.
Mhm.
So the windows that we propose, on our side of the house, if you're allowed to, build this room, would not be looking into into their windows.
Okay.
And our neighbors have only a first floor that jets back towards our house. Their second floor is almost like an attic, so it's like a 1.5, and they don't have a window there either. So it's just their second living room, that essentially those windows, because we're in the cul-de-sac, it trends towards the bushes at the back of their property towards our fence, not towards this existing garage that we have.
And there are no windows proposed
Yes, yeah.
on the side yard.
Yeah.
Either.
and adjoining us, immediately adjoining us is about 3 to 4 feet of their own side yard.
And what's on the property line itself? Is there a fence? Is
There
there?
is a fence.
So we have a fence that's at the back, at the back half of our property. But where the garage is today, our fence essentially starts at the back end of the garage and goes towards the back of the property. We have right next to the garage where the property line is, we have a stone, not necessarily a walkway, but a bunch of like different kinds of stones there that essentially is like a garden of sorts. And our neighbors have a lawn on the other side.
So would you be able to walk through? I mean, if it's 2 feet wide, are you gonna be able to?
Absolutely.
Yes. So God forbid there was a fire in that room, somebody would be able to actually get to the front of the house?
Yes.
Okay. Seems pretty tight.
Yeah. We have two entrances and exits to the backyard. With the fence that we have at the back of the house. So the entrance and exit to the house is not an issue.
Sergio?
Yes.
Two questions. The side yard dimension for the left side, you're calling it a 12.6? To the southwest of the property? Like, what's the side yard on the left? What's the dimension?
Yeah, that's the 12.6. It's not labeled on the survey.
How'd you come up with it?
I did it. I measured it on my computer.
Okay.
I had to do that to come up with the calculation for the combination.
No, I mean, you could have asked the surveyor just to amend the survey to put it on.
I can ask him to do it, but, just for the record.
Also, just following up on one of the questions that one of the other board members have, how come you have the rear of the building, the existing building, why don't you just fill in between the two, where the pavers are?
I think that's where they have this, that was something I was considering, but I think it would block the bathroom windows. Is that what you're talking about?
I didn't even look that far, but I mean, just trying to get you off that sideline.
That's where our kitchen is.
Yeah, the kitchen, I think there's 2 windows to the bathrooms, and that's the sliding. I don't think they wanted to lose daylight from that, so we only were able to, the coverage, the over building basically just covers that kitchen window. So where it says kitchen, existing kitchen, that's basically where the sink is. To the left of that, I believe there's another window there, or a slide?
Yeah, there is.
So they didn't want to lose daylight on that side.
Just trying to get you some options, because when you put something 2 feet off the boundary line, I mean, one of the reasons we're in the suburb is that we're not like in Jersey City where we have a shared party wall or something.
Zero.
And it's, if one of the neighbors might, that's 2 feet close.
If you weren't coming out to the front, if you were only doing that second floor above the garage and were coming out, what would the side yard setback be? If you weren't coming out, those what?
If I were just to project it straight forward, you're probably about 4 feet,
4 feet.
give or take, yeah.
Yeah, what was
The only-
why did you decide to bring it so far forward? Because it is such a long room, as you noted.
Because if you look on the second floor,
Yeah.
that's where I'm locating the door to enter to that bedroom. If I were to line it further back with the garage, the face of the garage,
Yeah.
you would have to carve a space out of the home office to go into it.
Which is also pretty deep, right?
Yes.
So, just make it more of a hallway if you had to. Okay. But that's the choice. Because a 28-foot bedroom is very, very deep. It is, I agree.
You see what they mean?
Yeah.
If we were to line this up here, then you'd have to come into the bedroom this way.
We have a window here, that becomes a door, otherwise we have to carve it. And then, the rest of this,
Yeah, but it's not an FAR. But you're still within FAR and everything. It's just,
Yeah.
it feels like that.
Yeah,
That side is so
correct.
close. I think that's what we're feeling a little concerned about.
I think if we were to pursue that option where we were to hold the face of the garage and bring that 2-foot overhang, you may be at like 3 feet at that point.
Get a little bit
It's-
wider.
Yeah, well, it'll be 3 feet as I go further back, maintaining the 2-foot overhang to the right, to the side yard.
Can I ask, are you finished your testimony, by the way? I know we started asking questions. so-
Yeah, basically, I mean, it's pretty simple.
Is there any hardship to the property that makes things difficult?
I think the only hardship is that it's the way that the building is set, it's set to the right side of the property. You know, I can't move the building. So, and even configured, understanding the inside, how the inside of the house works, there's really no other place to put this addition. If we were to put it on the other side, that on the left side of the rear property, that space, I believe it's a vaulted room. So putting a space above that basically would really, you know, jeopardize the effects of that space as it exists.
But you do have a sort of a regular shaped lot, right? I mean, the fact that the property line sort of, comes diagonally in, if this was a straight rectangular lot or square lot, you might not have this problem.
Correct.
You have this problem because of where you're putting it in light of the property line and and the shape of the property, right? I mean, that's your hardship, right?
Correct.
Was there a variance relief granted for the side yard, existing side yard deviations?
Prior to them owning the house, I'm not
No,
sure.
I don't know prior to owning the house. Do you know if at any time there was variance relief granted for this property?
We do not request for any variance after we purchase the property in
Yeah.
2020.
I understand that.
So I don't have an
You
answer.
didn't investigate whether there had been variance relief granted in the past, correct?
We did not investigate.
So if I could just ask for some points of clarity, you're asking for 3 variances, correct?
Yes.
Because you had said 2, but we have 3, but I wanted to make sure they didn't maybe minimize or get rid of something.
Side yard setback up to 18 feet, the side yard setback above 18 feet, the combined.
And the combined, yes, sorry.
Okay, you said 2, but
It's 3.
It's 3. And the existing usage, for the most part, looks like it's already not in compliance. Am I reading that correctly? That it's supposed to be 8, but it's 5.7. Is that correct? That he's already not, the existing is not compliant.
Yes.
Correct.
And then we're the request is to exacerbate.
To exacerbate to
existing-
2 feet,
Right, for all 3.
to an additional 3.7.
For all 3. Thanks.
Just one other question from me. There's on the Morgan survey, it states, discussion topic, asphalt and curb cross boundary line between subject lot and adjacent lot 8. Do you know how that came about?
Asphalt and curb cross boundary line. Asphalt and curb.
Because it's encroachment,
0.6.
0.6.
Yeah.
6 feet.
We've always known that line to be our boundary line.
No, that's your property line,
Yeah.
but I'm asking, it looks like from the survey, there's a minor encroachment of asphalt and curb over. Do you know how that came about?
That's pre-existing.
Okay. Thanks.
Even if that's correct, that it doesn't help us with the
Well, except it's
side
all-
yard.
I understand, but it's just all on that side, that's why.
Correct, yeah. And in terms of safety, getting to that bedroom up, the proposal was to put egress windows front and back. You're always gonna have a driveway there. So fire rescue is gonna be through the windows either way. Never to the side yard.
Just to clarify one more thing. So this bread-shaped thing is the pavers, that's the patio, correct?
Yes,
And the kitchen is located, I guess, perpendicular to that? Kitchen is just like, there's like a U-shaped,
Yeah,
the house is U-shaped, and the kitchen is at the center of that U-shaped area.
Yeah.
That's the kitchen. And what's on the sides of the kitchen,
We have a full bath on the left side.
A
We
what?
have A full bath,
A full bath,
and
okay?
then right next to that is the, second living room, a family
Family
room.
room, and what's on the right?
That's the garage.
That's the garage,
That's the garage.
yes.
Okay, and the addition is going to be mostly, or proposal is mostly over the garage.
Yes.
And a little bit over the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, I just wanted to make sure I
Little
had the
bit
first floor.
abutting the fan, right? So it's essentially, yeah, it is
Above the kitchen.
above the kitchen.
Above the kitchen slightly, about half of it, and then also over the garage, a little bit, and then farther to 2 feet. Thanks for that clarification.
Any other questions from board members? Is that it for your testimony now?
pretty much, yeah.
Any questions from anyone in the audience? Sure. Come up, please.
What's your name?
John Chen, JOHNCHEN. Yeah,
Your address?
736 Ridgewood Road. I just had a question about since we're neighbors and we share a yard, and I just had this concern that since the structure next to us is getting larger and our property suffers from some flooding sometimes, so I was sort of kind of concerned that if the structure next to us got larger, how would that potentially increase our flooding or not? And, yeah.
Mr. Chen, where's your property in relation to this property?
We share the backyard.
Can you just point to on the survey?
This is Reeve Circle.
So that would be,
Behind,
are you behind us?
Yeah, we're
you're behind your lot, one of these two lots.
Yeah. This one, 42.
No, that's David Russell, I don't speak here.
Wait.
Are you lot 41?
It might be lot 41.
What is your address?
736
736. What street?
Ridgewood Road.
Okay, so you're in the rear, you're somewhere in the rear of this property? So your question is to the architect about the impact of potential stormwater runoff onto your property if this application is approved.
So,
Go ahead, Dave.
Just looking at Google Maps, 736 is not above the property.
It's not.
No, it's
No, just not.
738 is the one with the small common border.
Yeah.
736
You're
is
lot
the one
40.
furthest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're lot 40, so it's not 41, sorry.
You're here.
So it's,
Okay, I just received this notice, so I thought,
That's okay.
It's fine.
It's okay, this question still remains. So Mr. Chen's property is to the northeast, thank you, David, of this property somewhere. Would this addition have any adverse stormwater management impacts on his property?
not in my professional opinion, it's below the maximum permitted. The imperv coverage is not in excess of the maximum permitted, so I don't see why it would.
So you're in compliance with building coverage and lot coverage,
And rear yard setback.
rear yard setback, and you're not aware of any adverse stormwater impacts on adjacent or surrounding properties resulting from your client's property, correct?
Correct.
Any other questions from the audience? Are there any comments from the audience? If you have any comments, you can, now's the time to come up and you can voice your comments. None? Okay, I'm going to close the public portion. And open it up to the board.
I have a lot of concern with the 2 foot width and just the fact that it does need a variance. I don't know that I feel yet compelled by the testimony that there's not a way to design it such that it could be closer to complying. So I think the idea of expanding it and creating the bedroom, I'm supportive of that, and I understand the testimony, but I think just the physical dimension, it does seem not in compliance with sort of the law of the zone, the intent of the zoning. That's my read on it.
I would agree with Beth. The 2 feet is just too close. I think you should look into, search if you push it back, whatever you want to do, is to create that buffer. Or come up with some other way to address that. 2 feet is very close.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't recall seeing anything that close ever to a property line. So I think with a little creativity, I think you could come up with a solution that would work. But this is just, I know the neighbors doesn't appear to be here tonight, but maybe the next neighbor would be pretty unhappy to have a house that's 2 feet off the property line. So I understand the testimony about the windows. Nevertheless, it just seems too close. And I think there has to be you seem like a very good architect. There has to be a way to design this that would be less problematic.
Agree with those comments. It's too close.
I agree with all the comments made. I can appreciate your concern. I will agree with you that the shape of the lot, being a pie-shaped lot, and the diagonal property line are hardships. However, you're already non-conforming, your existing setbacks are already non-conforming, so it is exacerbating an existing non-conformation, and the 2 feet, as others have said before me, is a shockingly too close. I appreciate the flood question. I always appreciate that. It's something to always keep in mind, particularly in Millburn. It's a darling neighborhood, by the way. I never even knew it existed. I thought, what a great place to live. Anyway, I think it would be awesome if you guys could go back to the drawing board and think of a way to, obviously my preference would be using for something that's conforming, number 1. And number 2, if you can't do that, then try to dial back on some of these variance requests.
I'll reconvene with the owners. We'll figure something out.
Okay.
Thanks. We appreciate your feedback.
Yeah. So hang on, let's see what our next available date is.
And I think if you're gonna come back regardless, it may help the board to see some photos.
Some context.
Of the adjoining structure on the adjoining property to get a feel of the distances.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't think there's too much left on this application. It probably is anywhere from May 12th or June 9th.
Thank you. May 12th. Thank you.
Is that gonna give
You enough time to go in?
Yeah. I'll be all right. Yeah.
Okay, so this matter is going to be carried to May 12th. And that will be in our new location, 434 Milburn Avenue, at 7 p.m.
Notice.
Further notice to be provided by the applicant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we have now calendar 4028-25. The property location is 30 Jefferson Avenue. The applicant is Mark Scaglione. Over here it says Stagliano.
Yeah, it's misspelled on
Okay.
the agenda item.
Sorry, okay, Stagliano.
Oh, it's.
Raise your right hand, do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give in tonight's proceeding to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Your name for the address and promote yourself.
Sure. Mark Stagliano, that's MarkStagliano. Okay, good evening. Mark Stagliano. I'm the homeowner along with my wife, who's with our 2 young children tonight, and I'm the applicant. We've lived in Millburn for 10 years. We lived on Mountain Avenue originally, owned a home over there, and we moved to Jefferson Avenue, which is the subject of this application a little over 3 years ago. We are here because we're hoping to install a pool. And we're on a corner lot, so we have the 2 front yards, and we're dealing with the safety fence around the pool. That's the reason we're here. We're not otherwise requesting any variances or exceptions in connection with the pool project. For the fence, the issue we're grappling with is that a conforming fence would basically bisect the remaining green space in our backyard, making it significantly less usable. Essentially, the pool location is, and the pool and the surrounding pieces like the retaining wall are going to occupy roughly half of what is a front yard, but we use as our backyard. And so even in making the decision to put in a pool, we gave thought to whether we would have enough green space left for a usable area for our family. And I think we concluded that if we retain the other half of the yard, there would be enough green space left for, our children to play. My wife is a birder, for that sort of stuff. There's a little bit of lawn and some foliage around the outside of it. A conforming fence would basically cut that area maybe 60-40 or more or less in half, and so would render us with significantly less play space on the lawn there. So I think if forced to choose between a conforming fence with the pool or without the pool, we probably just go without the pool, although we very much like to put in the pool for our family. Both of the properties we abut have pools. There's a lot of pools in the area in terms of our family use of it, future property value considerations. At the same time, we don't think installing the fence where we'd like to, which is along the foliage line that we have closer to Washington Avenue, is much of a detriment because there's already a line of mature foliage there that forms something of an effective fence, a visual fence, obviously not a safety fence. And we're proposing to put the fence along that line of trees. So it's already divided from the street visually, and we don't think adding a fence there is going to significantly impact the character of that from the street. The property across the street, that part of Washington Avenue is sort of a smaller side street, and the property across the street similarly is a corner lot with mature foliage. Their house doesn't face our property, it faces off to Jefferson Avenue, so they don't have an actual physical fence there, but they have a similarly vegetation line, and so we don't think the view is going to be significantly impacted because they're not looking out in it.
Just
Sure.
for clarity purposes,
Sure.
the fence, you're proposing to put it on the street side of the foliage or on your property side?
We're proposing to put it on the street side of the foliage just to maximize the usable lawn area behind. If the question's motivated by appearance from the street, we could either put more foliage on the other side of the fence or put it on the inside of there. I think we're just looking to maximize the usable lawn space
If
within.
it was on the inside of the foliage, though, you could put it right up against the foliage. I don't know how close you could do it, not hurt the foliage, but wouldn't really presumably impact your use of the property.
Yeah, it would take some small space. I agree with that. I think that's the conclusion of
When we did the paperwork, you're actually putting this fence right on the boundary line, on the right of way line, right?
No, it's the property line. The street, Washington goes out another
Yeah, it's off the,
No, it's the dash line is their
It
boundary.
is, and then
Right,
here's
that's their
their,
property line. And then
Isn't this their fence? Right
that's the
here.
center line. Here's.
That's the curb line.
The property goes to the center line of Washington, right?
That's the boundary line, that's the fence line.
Does the fence have to be set back so far from a certain distance from the street?
No. Is the foliage you're talking about, is that the light shaded area?
it's the
Starts
bubble
like in
area.
the bottom.
This area I'm pointing to here
Okay.
is the line of, it's this in the picture, which is in the materials. And it's,
Just so we know, as long as you're pointing out that dash line is your curb line, correct?
It's the property lines,
The actual dash line, not the.
This line is the curb line.
where the yellow is, whereas
Oh, I beg your pardon, you're right.
you can see the iron pin top.
I
and
do.
bottom.
Oh, actually, that's not true. They're going,
No,
that's the
no.
center line of Washington Avenue.
Yeah, there's the iron, this is what's difficult when the engineer who prepared these plans is not here to testify. Okay, so especially on a fence application involving setbacks and location of meets and bounds. So it looks like there's an iron pipe found right along that area where the proposed pool safety fence is to be installed. Let me ask you a question. Why can't you just put a safety pool fence immediately surrounding the pool?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question as well.
Yeah, I mean, aesthetically, we'd like to not divide the immediate pool area, given the yard is smaller, from the rest of the usable space in the backyard. So we're looking to make the pool part of the area that could be used together with the lawn area for.
Right, but if you put the fence immediately surrounding the pool area, you're not impacting usable green space that you're concerned about.
No, you would just be impacting progress between the two areas and making them less contiguous for.
Are you aware that the neighbor that you were referring to across the street from you on the corner of Washington and Jefferson came before the board for a similar variance for a fence and it was denied?
No, I was not aware of that.
Are there any other homes on that street that have front yard fences?
The house, 29 Jefferson across the street, has, I think they have one on the other side. They abut two streets. And the fence connects to the front of their house. I don't know if that,
The house, is that the one that goes partially on Birch Lane?
yes.
That's not a front, I mean, they had a white picket fence, but that was removed, so there's no.
Oh, no, I'm
front
talking about a
fence
different
anymore.
house, but I don't know if it's not on Jefferson, if that's the question. It's
Yeah.
off the side of the house.
Yeah, I don't. So as far as you know, on Jefferson, there are no. homes that have
No, I don't
certain
think so at this
fences.
time, not that I know of.
So you've got when you go from Jefferson down Washington and you're on the right, you've got a fairly sizable drop.
Yes.
5 feet or so.
Correct.
The topography, and all these trees are up on the top of that.
Close to the top,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
correct.
Or the hill goes up and the trees are up.
Toward the
same
top, right
level
at
as
the
the
top of it,
property.
yes.
And you're going to build this retaining wall kind of structure outside the trees to
That's-
support the fence?
No, I think that's that's around the pool.
It's around the pool? This is not on the side of Washington.
No, that's going around the back.
This is,
Oh, that's the back
that
of the-
retaining
okay.
wall is going around the
So
exterior of the
this
pool.
is,
as proposed.
this is proposed at the bottom of the drop off? So it's almost like right up against the street or at the top against the trees?
By the trees.
I'm just a little confused when your opening statement, are you putting in a pool?
That, we would like to put in a pool, yes,
Okay.
that's,
Okay.
You would not need a variance for the pool.
No.
Right, it's in a conforming location.
yes, this is the only thing we would need,
Yeah.
correct, for this plan.
Any other questions?
So how tall is the proposed fence?
It's 46 7 inches, something like that.
47, and
Yeah.
that's, yeah, it can be 48.
inches.
Right,
48
it's not solid and it's aluminum. And I'm having trouble finding where it ends. I might went to your property day and I sort of, and your son.
When you say where it ends,
Yeah, where does it end? Does it end on this, the pool side of the house, the backyard on the left? I'm trying to figure out where the gate is.
there's,
So it's a little hard to say where the fence, the proposed fence is.
the proposed fence goes from the side of the house
The
here.
side, okay, it doesn't.
Across
all right, it
a
doesn't actually
driveway,
go into
or
Jefferson.
alongside a driveway.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not, sorry, it's us, yes, at the back of it.
So it's conforming on this side, conforming on this side, so when you get to this side.
It's
where
the
property
side
is.
along Washington, yes.
So the view here, is this looking into Jefferson?
That's looking at Jefferson
Yeah.
from Washington.
And your
So the
property,
fence would be along here.
so your property is on
It's on the
the
left
left,
side of this view.
and that's where you're looking to build a
Yes.
fence?
Any other questions from the board?
And just one more, how long will that be in terms of length from, on the Washington side?
On this side, it's shown as 36
And,
37 feet.
and that's the entire,
No, it's
No.
up to,
up to the,
37 feet from there to there. and then
from the corner of the lot up to halfway on the house or 2/3 of the way on the house.
I see, I see.
And the other 122.
It's at least 80 feet. It's kind of-
You
So just to scale.
made a comment that you might be willing to add other shrubbery on the other side of the fence. I think one of the things that I know this board really likes is to have shrubbery that camouflages fences.
Sure.
So, and you have an enviable arborvitae hedge. Wow, it's beautiful. But what would it be to, how bad would it be for you to put the fence inside that beautiful arborvitae hedge on your property side? And if not, what would your solution be to camouflage the fence from the Washington Avenue side?
I mean, I think we would be open to putting it on the inside, subject to figuring out how it would work with the
It's a
foliage.
gorgeous hedge. It's like, how do they, you must be feeding them.
Or putting a
See what
similar thing
happens.
alongside, but that I think we'd be open to either of those.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any questions from the audience? Any statements from the audience? I'm gonna close the public portion, and I'm gonna just take the lead here. We had a member on our board for a very long time. She passed away, Mary McNett. And she would always caution the board. She was on for many, many, many years. And I'm sure Eileen will remember this. She would always caution the board that, like, the reasoning behind the no fences and front yards and short hills. And it was to keep everything looking open and fences kind of closing everything in. And if, one corner property puts in a fence and then another one does and another one does, everything goes from being just like a nice rolling kind of open look to everything being really closed in. And I think, we've had applications that come before us. It's hard when you have a corner property because you have the 2 front yards. And we've had applications where they come before us and they can't put in even a pool without a variance because of being on a corner lot. Here, you're kind of lucky because you could still put in a pool and you could still put in a conforming fence. And you could even put in a conforming fence that doesn't cut off. Like, I understand that a conforming fence, kind of along the property, the perimeter does cut off a lot of usable property, but you can put in your pool in a conforming way and then just put in a pool fence around it. So personally, that's what I would be in support of. Just, given also the rest of the properties, in that neighborhood, there are no other front yard fences. I think it's gonna look out of place. I think you have a beautiful home, a beautiful property, and I think a fence is just going to really look out of place. Moreover, I don't see any, for our purposes, I don't see any hardship here. And, I think the negative criteria of it not, closing off the property and not looking and keeping in character for the neighborhood, it would be problematic for me, but I welcome everyone else's opinions.
So I'm gonna go next because this, I have to say, I live in a corner lot myself and I have a fence. And the people who own the home And the neighbor actually complained the same thing that Mrs. McNett did, so they told us that they didn't want the neighborhood cut off by fences that it interrupted with the flow. But in my opinion, I think that the fence just around the pool would look a lot weirder. And if you are willing to consider putting it inside that, honestly, it's the most spectacular arborvitae hedge I've ever seen. I don't think it would impede the neighborhood at all, in my opinion. I think your hardship is loud and clear. You're on a corner. There's no way you can put a pool in without a fence, nor should you. So I would be comfortable personally because of my experience in my own house. I'm super glad I have a fence. And I'm so glad that the board a long time ago approved my fence. And I think there are a lot of fences in Short Hills now. This neighborhood maybe is a little more touchy, but if you keep it inside of the arborvitae hedge on that side, they're not gonna see it. I agree.
I'll follow up on that. I agree with Jessica. If the arborvitae hedge decides to disappear or go away, then we're still looking at a fence.
You could but you could also say we have to have a hedge there.
That may or may not hold water in 40 years from now. I mean, as we discussed, I mean, the reason Short Hills was founded to give that rolling hill aspect of it. You start fencing everything in, that just disappears, that quality and character of the town. So I would pretty much agree with 100% of what you just said, so.
Can I just remind the board of this one thing, just from a legal perspective? There was a reference by, Regina that, being on a corner is a hardship. I just want to remind the board that technically to have a property hardship to warrant relief under the C1 criteria, the hardship isn't just, oh, I have a situation that's a little bit different. It's a situation that is unique to your property in relation to the neighborhood. And when you have a neighborhood, you have a lot of corner lots, especially in probably neighborhoods such as this. So I just want to caution the board that when you're talking about uniqueness of a particular property, sometimes that's because of the sloping conditions or the shape of the property, et cetera, et cetera. But just in and of itself, being a corner lot, I don't know if it constitutes or rises to the level of being a hardship in and of itself.
But if you weren't on a corner, you wouldn't need a variance.
That's not the criteria.
Yeah.
The criteria isn't if I didn't have this corner lot, I could get a variance, but so because I have a corner lot, I have a hardship that is unique to the neighborhood. So again, the other reasons that you stated may be entirely valid, and you listed a number of them, but I just wanted to comment on the uniqueness of being a corner lot. That's all.
I also just want to add, I just want to make sure everyone, on the board realizes that, because I don't know how many of you were on the board at that time, that their neighbor across the street, and I guess there was no way for you to know this, but their neighbor across the street came in for a variance for exactly, the same thing, and the board did deny it previously.
That was on Jefferson or was
It
it
was
on Washington?
Washington, the house that's on the corner of Washington and Jefferson.
Pretty much similar.
It's
Mirror
literally
next
the
to-
same,
across the road.
the house that they were talking about with all the vegetation. And they actually planted a lot more vegetation after the board denied putting a fence, on the road because the board did not want, fence cutting off. It wasn't, keeping in character with the neighborhood. But the board did deny that a few years ago.
How would anyone ever get a fence in Short Hills though? Because
Well, you can have a fence. It's just you can't have it right up to you can't have it that close to the property line, right, Eileen? As long as the fence is within the right.
Then beyond the front plane of the
Yeah,
house.
of the house.
yeah,
You could
in
absolutely,
my neighborhood, there are not.
you could absolutely have a fence. It's just a matter of where on your property you can put the fence.
In my neighborhood, there's a number, but different neighborhood.
I had one other just comment or concern, which is that a pool safety fence in my mind would be to keep out pets or children or just for the safety perspective. So having a backyard where it's so open to the pool and potentially accessible, it's not for me to decide, but I do feel like having it closer to the actual pool Regina, I guess your view is that it's not as aesthetically pleasing. I mean, I certainly have seen pools with fences around them, and to me, that feels safer. But I guess it just, it's obviously a preference and what you're allowed to do, but that is an option as well, of course.
Yeah, look, I don't think the hardship has been established. I mean, I just don't think the criteria for the variance has been met. I think certainly the policy reasons that Jessica outlined, I think resonate with me. But I think there are ways you could have your pool and a fence, which is obviously important, without getting a variance from this board when we've, denied others in the neighborhood the similar thing. So I just don't think I can be supportive.
Can I just make one other comment on what Gary said, which is that, again, we look at variances not just under a hardship criteria that I talked about, but we also look under the C2 criteria. Where in the flexible C2, the board does an assessment as to whether the benefits substantially outweigh the detriment. So you may find that there's no hardship whatsoever, but you may still decide that the proofs have been presented such that the applicant has demonstrated that the benefits essentially outweigh the detriments and that the approval can be granted. But that's up to the
So I may
board.
not have articulated it as you have and as the way I should have, but I thought that the point about the policy argument that this would be contrary to what we want the neighborhoods to look like effectively says that the benefits do not outweigh the detriments.
Can I ask a question of our attorney? If the client were able to find examples of other homes in Short Hills with pools, with fences that are not directly on the perimeter of the actual pool, that will rather surround the backyard, would that be something that he could come back to the board with? Proof that there are fences just like this?
So we can absolutely come back to the board with those proofs. I just want to remind, again, this is a good opportunity to remind the board that when assessing, so we've now talked about the positive criteria for C1 and C2. With regard to the negative criteria, any applicant has the burden of proof to demonstrate that approval can be granted without substantial detriment to the neighborhood, to the public good, and that's the neighborhood. The neighborhood is a somewhat nebulous term in that some cases say it's within 200 feet of the property. Some cases say it's less than 200 feet. Some cases say it's a little bit more than 200 feet. It's whatever the public would objectively look at this and say, oh, this is the neighborhood. So to answer your question, if somebody came in and said, oh, I want a front yard setback of 10 feet, and here are homes in Short Hills with front yard setbacks of 10 feet. My first question to them would be, where are these homes? Are they in the relation to the subject property? Are they close to the subject property? If you're driving in the neighborhood, as you may define it, are you going to see these homes? So to answer your question, if the applicant for this case were to come back with photos and an aerial, let's say of a tax map, and saying, these 7 properties within 120 feet all have front yard fences, and here are the photos of them in relation to the pools or what have you, that certainly would potentially be persuasive in terms of the negative criteria. Remember, you have to prove the positive criteria and the negative criteria. But if you're showing, on the other hand, front yard fences in different neighborhoods, I don't know if it's necessarily relevant to the board's consideration, especially if they are not in, this is an R3 zone. So if you showed fences in the R7 zone in front yards, I don't know how persuasive that would be in satisfying the negative criteria.
So for purposes of most zoning boards, R3 would be the neighborhood,
Not necessarily,
No.
because
or adjacent.
there's lots of towns where
Okay.
the R3 is half the town. And I wouldn't consider that as.
But not in Short Hills. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but yeah, thank you.
Any other comments?
So I'm on the fence on this.
Been waiting all night for that.
11.
I hear your view, and if you could go it becomes sort of invisible in a way. It's on the inner side, and it could, if that's what the applicant wants. But coming back to what the policy is being broadly understood amongst the board, and I wasn't part of the board at that time, so I don't remember that application. I would tend to go with, what has been generally agreed here from the board's perspective, and then I think that sort of gets me on this side, of the argument. So I would kind of, not be in a position to support this just based on what was discussed here, just kind of keeping the open nature of the township that we have kind of,
And can I ask a question? It sounds like putting the fence on the inside of the vegetation doesn't address your concern because the vegetation may one day die, and so that's not.
That was my concern that I raised.
Oh, I'm sorry, I directed it to the wrong
Well,
person,
you could-
sorry.
But it sounds like, I would be in support of that, but it sounds like most of them.
That's what I'm
that wouldn't
saying, it
even
sounds like that
address
doesn't
it,
solve the
but
concern of
You
most
could
of them.
make it conditional. Now, the only way that this fence would stand is if there was an in perpetuity agreement to keep vegetation in front of it. And we have made those.
I don't
So I
think
have-
vegetation is going to, first of
But
all,
it may
there's
not
no
sway.
enforcement mechanism, and I think you would still see the fence even with
But we
the
have made other,
vegetation, so.
we have made other
Yeah.
conditional approvals.
Yeah.
Similar with fences.
Okay, well, I think I'm gonna withdraw it then, because it sounds like there's not
Well,
support.
hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. It's always good to get the feedback from the board.
Sure.
Okay. You have the right to carry, withdraw, go to a vote. If you carry, it gives you an opportunity to, take another look and see if maybe you can do something that, while you may still need some form of relief, it may address some of the concerns that have been expressed by the board members.
I mean, okay, I'm happy to carry it, I guess. I have a feeling I'm gonna end up withdrawing it because it doesn't sound like there's a solution here, but I'm happy to carry it and talk to my wife. Yeah, no, I will, sure, I will, so I can talk to my
Can I
wife.
just interject something?
Yes, sure.
You might want to speak to your designer. He might have, are you an architect?
I am not an architect,
Okay.
no.
You might want to speak to your architect, your landscape architect. They might have some ideas that will give you something that you can do, within what's allowed.
Yeah, no, understood. I think it would bisect what's left of the green space, or the choice would be to put it right immediately around the pool, so I'd have those conversations. Okay.
Okay, so
So we can carry it till, let's say, May 12th. If you decide
Sure.
to withdraw that,
I'll let you know.
before that.
Thank you.
Okay, so this matter is being carried to May 12th with no further notice. And as a reminder, I still don't have the address memorized. It will be 434, right? 434 Milburn Avenue at 7 PM.
Yeah.
Ready.
Okay.
Get up, you two. Come on.
Last up, we have calendar 4028-20. Oh, sorry, nope, I take it back. We have calendar 4026-25. It's 55 Elm Street.
Would you, everyone just raise their right hand, do you swear affirm testimony about the given tonight's proceeding to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You name to the record. Your name,
Dong Yan Mu,
just spell it,
DONGYAN, last name IMU.
spell it.
IMU, Mu,
Oh,
IMU, only two characters.
I get it.
Lily, first name L-E, last name L-I.
Timothy Klesse, I'm sorry.
Spell it.
KLESS. Okay. You ready?
Yes, or Simon's
go
gonna
ahead.
speak
Can we go
first
first?
and then we'll.
So good evening, board, and thanks for having us at this late hour. Really appreciate. So so this Lee and this is my wife Dong Yam, and we've been living in Melbourne for about 8 years since 2017. We were a family of 4. Now we're a family of 6 because my parents decided to live with us, and her parents, will come from time to time. Given originally we were from China and we're the only child in the family, so we can, obligated to support the family. We love the town. We do from our heart. And the challenge here is our house is kind of smaller. Now 6 of us have to share 1.5 bathroom, and especially the 2 kids, growing up, 14 and 12 now, 1 boy, 1 girl. Sometimes, it become quite inconvenient because basically 3 men, 3 women share 1 full bathroom. So the reason why we're here is we look at other alternatives, and including, looking the house in other town, but that idea quickly got shut down by all the family members because we do want to continue our life here. So we decide to expand our house, and that's why we're here.
Okay.
All right.
Can you give us your qualifications,
I'm sorry.
please? Thanks.
I'm a licensed architect in New Jersey and in New York, and I've been licensed for 30 years, and my license is presently in good standing. Appeared in front of this board and presently, I said, because who knows, in front of this board and many others over the years. The site is 55 Elm Street. It's on Lower Elm. It's on the lower side, the below Wyoming side. It's lot 4, block 209. It's an R5 zone. It's, an R5 zone, first of all, I guess, has a lot area requirement of 14,500. This lot is 10,000, so I'm going to say it's undersized. Like, I don't want to say extremely, but it's undersized. And this is like an infill, 1930s colonial. It's a nice looking house. Our intent here is to renovate the home, to add to the rear. And I really got this client because I did a house right next door that I came in front of this board, I don't know, could have been 10 or 15 years ago. And for a variance. And we actually have gone out to the same depth as that addition. But the difference with that house is that the zoning was a little bit different at the time, but also the fact that the garage is under. It has a 1-car garage under the house. And so I'm going to say that this site has a little bit of a problem, that it's got this 2-car garage that's on grade, and that's giving me an increase in building coverage, lot coverage, and FAR.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? The house that you worked on that you said is next door, when you were facing the house, like the front door of the house, left side or right side?
Right side.
So the house that extends very, very long?
Into the
came
back,
before
yeah.
the board?
Yes, it's, I don't know if you remember, the name was Fitzsimmons at the time. So anyway, that house, but that garage is under, so. My client was, in order to make this so, hopefully I don't have to come back 2 or 3 times like I've been hearing going on and have Eileen yell at me about the agenda. We'd like to do a couple of things that maybe we could cut on the house to make this work, okay? And I'm gonna show you, first I'm gonna walk you through the plan and then take you back into what we'd like to modify it to sitting a little bit tonight. So I'm on my BOA 1 sheet. It's the existing plan and then the proposed plan. And on this plan, you can see that the detached garage is way in the back, and also the fact that that gives me a really, really long driveway. Right? That's the 2 big problems. That's lot coverage and building coverage. So the other project you came and you actually went under here, exists in the existing area of the house. But it was a little easier to pull that off because the grade was sloped more, so you could get in. But that pulled away the detached garage and also pulled away all this paving area. So it made things work a little easier. Then I'm just gonna go to my BOA 2 sheet, and all we really did was take the existing front, I added this little porch to the front, which is an increase in building coverage, but I just thought the house needed it, so I put it on. And then we had a large guest room on the first floor. That's really for his parents that live with them. Okay? And I went through and back and forth with them about making this room smaller. And his father like yells at me, really, kind of when I trying to make it smaller. They because they live here full time, and they really would like the larger space. So then I modified the plan. I come to a living room, dining room. I have a kitchen, eating area, family room, a mud room. I come down the stairs. There's a detached garage, and there is my deck on the property. I come up to my second floor, and really I have 2 bedrooms for the kids. I have a 3rd bedroom which will really function as an office for my client, because she's a college professor and needs the space for online classes and needs to be able to leave her material out, not in a place where the kids can get to it. And then my primary bedroom, in the rear, there's still that garage sitting there. I come up, I'm just gonna there is an existing 3rd floor. It's very, it actually doesn't count into my FAR. It's really an office and a sort of a workroom for the kids and attic storage space. And then what I did when I got to the building, I'm now on my BOA 5, because I think this is probably where things sort of really matter, is I left the ridge exactly, I'm on my front elevation now, which is my BOA 5 upper left. I left the top ridge exactly where it was. So I didn't push the building up any higher. And then I added this element. You can see the dormer that I pulled dotted here on the left side. And then I added this element here to the right with the gable going that way, added the front porch in the front to keep this site in scale with the balance of the neighborhood. I plotted in red, so I guess this is really sorry, but it's an A1 really, I guess. Because I did mark this.
A1 is colorized site plan elevations.
Yes. And I marked in red to give you an idea of the variance. The property line is the red vertical line. I come in 12 feet because the required setback in this zone is 12 feet, really for a 75-foot lot width, but we have a 50-foot width. So all of the existing building is in violation. And you can see I've actually pulled that dormer in to make it less in violation. Then I come up, and when I hit the 18 point, I start going on the angle to hit 16 at 32. And that area is that second violation when I get above the 18 feet, because, it gets worse. So I plotted it on the left side, and then I plotted it also on the right side. And you can see that the existing building, so it's already an exhibit, so I guess I can do this. The existing building is sitting there, and actually there's another part of that building that's there. And I came out, I've added that mass with this roof that's falling back, because I come up on 9.9 feet at this point, but I come up on my 12, and then I go on my angle again to hit 16 at 32. It gave me a variance on this side of 6.1 and a variance on this side of 5.4 feet. That's that area above 18 foot, so probably the second variance that I made of. Then I come and I'm on my long side, like the low side, the right side. And you can see how the primary gable is coming through, and then I gabled in these 2 buildings. That's my gable going in. We like that because it pushes this roof back and lowers the mass. Then I come back with my building, and I ended up, if I come back to my initial BOA one sheet, I ended with my building a little bit, about 3 feet less than the existing building to the left that I started talking about in the beginning. You know, you can see that I've located the adjacent home here, and if you follow that across where we are, we're about, I think it's about 2 feet, that we are less in depth than the existing building. Then I'm just gonna go on to show you, I did this rendering, I have this rendering done. This is the existing streetscape, oops, sorry. It's my A2, it's a rendering of the streetscape. And I'd like to send this around, or let me see what I have. I actually have it smaller, and I'd like to just distribute it if I could. I don't think I've-
Was that prepared under your supervision, Mr. Costa?
Yes, yes.
And when was it prepared?
A week ago. I'm gonna say April 1st. That's what's going around is the proposed building in a different color. But I just thought it may be good for you to look at it a little closer. And I can pass this board around also. You can see the existing building on the left, our existing home, and then the existing home to the right. And then what we did is we rendered in the building into the streetscape photograph. So the same building on the left and the same building on the right with our building in. And we've changed the material from the primary facade to the secondary part of the facade and let the roof go back so that we could kind of make the building appear to be smaller. That's what that's really doing. And I don't know if you want me to send this or what I sent you this. Well, I could change it much. I could, yeah, that's pretty good. That one is a darker building, and I.
Do you have a photo of the existing building?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a photo of is that the existing building up top?
In the middle one is the existing building. And I just had them change the rendering to get it a lighter color so that they would be compatible.
So on your A2, the top left is the existing building and the bottom right is proposed building as color rendered?
Yes, into the existing streetscape.
Right.
And the one on the lower picture is exactly the same as the picture that you.
As the record will reflect that other than the applicants and Mr. Klesse, there's no one else in the audience. So given that, my recommendation to the board is if maybe Mr. Klesse brings A2 a little bit closer to the board members so they're able to see.
I could just send it.
Or you can send it.
I send.
A2 is the same as,
It's yes, the
except for
bottom of
the
A2. The bottom on A2 is the
yeah,
same.
the same as this.
I just changed the color because I wanted them to be the same color.
Do you have any
Alright.
pictures of the house, like from, like when you're facing it from the right side, that would show the house next door, the neighbor's house next door?
Google it.
The trees block it when you Google it.
The trees block it?
It's hard to see the next door from the, oh, no.
No, she
Yeah,
doesn't see
yeah,
it
if
from
you move down to the next door, you can see it.
Tim, do you have a rendering of your proposals superimposed over existing? I went there today, but I'm having trouble figuring out.
That is the rendering of the
You don't
proposed
have to like
building.
superimpose, so we can see.
Like in plan, like?
Well, like
you
just
mean?
whatever, just seeing what you're adding, that, what over.
Oh, no. no.
Okay, sorry. I mean, I think it's the lattice area.
Yeah, show that to her. Well, it's not bad. It's not bad. She really wants to see
Yeah, you can see.
if it's in this house. That's what she's really.
A1 is on there, it's just the colorized version.
I don't know if I have a picture.
Oh, she-
Yeah.
Listen, you bring it up to Jessica.
Better make sure they might not allow it.
They may keep it, he's just kidding, don't worry.
No, I have to make sure. Yeah, sure.
Or take a picture of it. No, they want to see the one to the right. They want, I think she wants to see.
I don't think that we, yeah, I mean, I just meant something specific. I went to the property, I saw it.
Okay.
So Tim, the latticed area on BOA-1 is your proposed addition, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. so
I'll
that's-
come back.
that gives me at least some idea.
I don't have a picture of it, Jessica.
The latticed area.
I'm gonna go back.
I can't tell. if
The,
it's-
Or, I'm back on my BOA-1 sheet.
Okay.
And the existing building is clear, it's like no texture. If you look on the right side, I've crosshatched to the right. And that is really where we added a second floor over existing. See on that little bit on the right side? When I crosshatch to the right, I'm gonna say. When we crosshatch to the left, it's a first floor addition, and then crosshatch to the right, it's the second floor. So this area is really a two-story addition. That's what's going on. There's a small addition right there on the second floor over an existing building. So anyway, I gotta run you through the zoning real quick. Because I don't know if anybody realized, but there is a basketball game going on. I just didn't know if you knew. Okay. Is it halftime? It is not.
31-28.
So if I'm on page 23 of your packet right now.
Attachment, yeah?
Oh,
Pardon me?
this one.
Yes. The first variance is side yard setback. The left side is existing at 5, and we're proposing to add at 7.6. And the requirement is 12. So the variance request on the left side is 4.4. On the right side, we're at 9.9, and we're existing at 9.9 and staying at 9.9. And that's a variance of 2.1. I guess I should show them. That variance is really, this is the 9.9, but our proposed going along behind that area is really conforming to the 12, and I set it to conform to the side yard combined setback. You can see our two lines are side yard setback, our side combined setback, and then our side setback at 32 feet. Then the second variance is the one that I showed you in elevation with the sort of triangle where I get above 18 foot high. Still a continuation of an existing condition that I'd like to say that we improved on the left side and left the same on the right side. And then in terms of side combined, we have, side combined remains the same because where the building touches the ground is still at the same location. So the first three variances are really continuations of existing non-conforming conditions. The second three variances are building coverage, lot coverage, and FAR. Our detached garage is 380 square feet. If that could come out of the picture, right, it would really be helpful to our building coverage, our lot coverage, and our FAR. But what we talked about doing tonight, when I was going in and out, was to cut the garage in half, because the zone only requires a one-car garage. The zone requires a garage, but it requires a one-car. So if we'd like to cut the garage in half and then reduce the depth of our building by 2.6 feet on both floors. If we did both of those things, our building coverage would be, our request tonight would be 148 square feet of additional building coverage, which is 1.5%.
Can you just repeat the depth part?
What I
You
did,
showed
I
us?
gotta do it here. Well, it's probably good to do it. I guess I'd like to just make this A3. And we'd like to cut the garage in half and remove half of it.
Does that make it usable for one car, Tim?
Yes, it's still 10 feet, it's fine.
Well,
It's,
No, wait,
Go ahead.
wait.
well, because the ordinance requires a minimum size garage,
Do you know what it is?
13, it's gotta be 13 feet wide interior dimensions.
So we do that.
So that you, because the parking space is 9, it's gotta be 2 feet, you have to have 2 feet on both sides. And you have
So I would then have to add a variance for garage width, right? That's the new part we do.
Yeah.
you need to go to 16 feet, Jeff.
So
What sheet is that you marked up?
Pardon? It's my BOA 2 sheet. So I guess I would have to then add a variance for garage width.
I think this is, I don't think this is something that you can do just like on the fly. No,
Well-
seriously, I don't think this is something you could do on the fly. So if you're gonna come back, you know, I mean, if you wanna come back, that's fine, but,
Okay.
but do you wanna go over the other variances? and
Yeah, let
then-
me just run
Can we-
through.
yeah,
I think it would, you'd benefit from getting some feedback from the
Okay.
board also, as long as you're.
Do
okay with that.
Well, I'd like to stay with what we'd like to produce. Is that what we'd like to propose? Is that okay? Or with what's in front of you?
I don't know.
It's up to you.
Well, why don't you do this? Acknowledging that you're gonna come back with revised plans, is that correct?
It's okay. I was hoping to come back for memorialization, actually.
It's your client's.
That's what I was
application.
hoping to do.
It's your client's application. You heard a comment from the board member
Mhm.
in terms of maybe wanting, if you're gonna revise your plans, that they should be submitted to be reviewed by the board. If you're looking for memorialization at the next meeting, then it's up to you how you want to present it.
No, I just didn't know if I could come back with revised plans for memorialization. That's what I'm asking.
I'll throw myself on
Yeah.
the fence, on the sword here.
Yeah,
What you're talking about, there's just too much for us to take into account without having
Okay.
any plans. That being said, I wouldn't be able to vote on it at all. I would just deny it because I don't understand it unless you had plans, instead of just saying we're gonna cut off here. And I appreciate what
okay.
you
No, I
do.
understand.
That being said, maybe you want to go forward with the presentation as far as the setbacks as well. I mean, those might be an issue as long as you're going to do a redesign or potentially take a look at maybe redesigning, maybe look to increase your setbacks a little bit.
And also you haven't gone through lot coverage and.
I went
Those
through
are
all three of the
huge asks.
setbacks. We'd like to leave them as they are. Because we think that our new setbacks are actually less than the existing setbacks. And the lot is
That's your
undersized
obligation,
in
Tim.
width.
That's fine.
Okay.
But
The setbacks we'd like to leave as they are. Building coverage. Well, what I was hoping to say is that if we cut the garage in half, I guess I'd like your feedback on what I'm proposing as an alternate, as a concept.
Well, we don't know what you're.
Well, I can
proposing,
give it to
but-
you, it's very simple.
But it's not, because you proposed a 10-foot garage and that's not in
No, I would need a variance
I
for
don't think
garage
that,
width.
I mean, I would not be in favor of giving you a variance. I mean, that's an ordinance for a reason, and so you can open up your car doors, otherwise it's not a functional garage.
You would need
So,
to notice that too, wouldn't you, Rob?
We would have to notice it, unless if we have the disclaimer.
what about your lot coverage and your FAR? You're gonna be able to get those down? Because
I
those
could
are
get the lot,
huge asks.
well, I guess if I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna come back with a garage at 13 feet. Right, cut the garage to 13 feet. And that would give me, I'm gonna have a building coverage of around 2% request. And I would, so I'll bring a planner, but I would think I'm gonna say that the request is really because I have a detached garage that's not under the building. And then my lot coverage will be about 210 square feet
Instead of
request.
638.
Pardon me?
Instead of 638.
It's, yeah, would be about 210. And because we removed some driveway and also removed the building. And my FAR would go to about 270. It'd be about 2.7. It's an easy one to convert. It's about 2.7%.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show all of this with
Okay.
revised plans, with a revised attachment F. And you may also want to, I'm sure the board appreciates the colored rendering. You may wanna show the board a view of the depth of this home, the proposed depth as revised, compared to the depth of other homes along that block. Only because looks like, at least from the bird's eye view, you're almost doubling the size. You may not be anymore because of the cutbacks, but that may be something that the board may want to see, especially as it relates to the FAR there.
I'd really like to see that. I have really big concerns. When I went out to that property today and I was looking, that house next door that you said that you designed and that you mentioned at the beginning of the application, I mean, that goes so far back and it closes off their property. And I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. And I was actually shocked. I was like, how did this even, I was surprised. I was like, when did this get approved? How did it get approved? Was I on the zoning board when it got approved? I did a Google search to try to find it, to see if I could get any information. Nothing came up in my search, but I have like really serious concerns about doing the same thing to the property right next door. I mean, you're gonna have like a tunnel, because these houses are really close to each other and they're just gonna go so far back. That's my concern too.
Okay. It's your turn.
June 9th,
May 12th?
May 12th, you're after 309 Milburn LLC.
No, that's not
I
gonna
mean,
be,
that's gonna be at least,
that's not gonna be realistic. No.
so, I mean, because I think you still have a long way to go on this. This is not gonna be like a 5-minute rapid kind of thing. So,
June 9?
yeah.
June 9?
Correct. Let's hope that.
June 9th, yes.
So can you please do some mail?
We only have one meeting in May.
That's good.
Okay, so this application is going to be carried to June 9th without further notice unless, Tim, sorry.
Well, they don't think they can make it.
They can make it.
Oh, they
Did you-
can't make it, okay.
Is there another one, June 30th, is it?
June 30th.
June 30th? No. Does that seem okay?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Why do you
But
know
you
it goes
have
back?
to June 9th to go to June 30th.
They're gonna need to notice.
June 30th.
June 30th, okay. So we're gonna carry this to June 30th without further notice unless, Tim, you decide to do something where you're gonna need to get new variances. In which
Okay.
case you would need to notice.
I understand.
And again, the new location is 434 Milburn Avenue and it will be at 7 PM.
That's the Ed Center.
Yeah.
It's a-
Board of Ed.
Yeah, easy.
Shorter communication. You? No.
It's like maybe half an hour. I'll take it.
I don't, guys, we're still on tape. I don't see anyone else in the audience. So would someone like to make a motion?
I would love to make a motion to adjourn the meeting tonight.
Do you have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
I can tell you, I just try to
Thank
fix
you.
my calendar.
Thank you.
Come on, everyone, happy.
Yeah, yes. Happy holidays.